Welcome to You're Not Alone. The podcast brings you real stories of strength, hope, and resilience. Our guests are real people just like you who have faced losses, anxieties, and life obstacles but emerged stronger. Today's guest is the powerful example that even in deep grief, hope remains. After losing her husband, she turned inward, finding healing through yoga, sound, and spiritual transformation. With over 30 years in education, including 17 as a school principal, she now helps others navigate loss, reconnect with inner voice, and trust that the universe always leaves the door open when we are ready to walk through it. Let's dive in. My name is Victoria Vita. I'm a mindset mentor, Reiki master, and a sound healer. I'm also the CEO and founder of Self Awesomeness and the host of this podcast. And today's guest is Addie Gaines, is a beautiful reminder that even through deep grief, there is always hope. After losing her husband, she began a new chapter, one rooted in yoga, sound healing, and inner transformation. With over 30 years in education, including 17 as an elementary school principal, thank you very much for what you have done. She asked life a powerful question: what else is out there? That question led her inward when she couldn't travel outward, straight into the healing world. Now, an author and a guide, she helps others move through grief, listen to life's messages, and trust that the universe opens doors when we are ready. Thank you, Addie, for being on today's podcast.
You're welcome.
I'm very excited to have you here.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Can you please tell us a little bit about your story, yourself, and how your life journey brought you where you are right now?
Okay. Well, like you mentioned, I was an educator for 30 years, 17 of which an elementary principal. Prior to that, I had also been a kindergarten teacher. So my life was,
Oh,
yeah. So my life was very rooted in education. And I
mm-hmm.
feel like in my heart, I'm a teacher. Um, and there just always seems to be opportunities to reach out and teach people. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot, I guess, just me personally. My story, as far as the book I wrote, which is a memoir and a photo journal, this was in 2017. My husband passed away very
Mm-hmm.
unexpectedly. There
I'm
was,
sorry.
yeah, thank you. Um, just kind of to briefly share that experience. We were having open house that day at school, where you have everybody. And I used to refer to it like the
Mm-hmm.
wedding.
Yes.
The open house is the wedding, and the school year is the marriage. Um, so, there was a lot of, yeah, there was a lot of preparation and things going on that day. I had left early in the morning um, to start the day. There just was a lot going on. So I was at school. We had our open house night. Everything went fine. And it was the, fun celebratory welcome back that we attended. Then I was there late doing other things, cleaning up, what have you. So it was probably bumped 10 o'clock before I was headed home. And I'd even left some stuff undone. But I thought I'll get up early in the morning and I'll get that taken care of before some other events.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I came home and the TV was on, and my husband he liked to sleep on the couch. Well, he watched TV and then he fell asleep on the couch. So that's kind of what I expected when I walked in, and
Mm-hmm.
like he wasn't there on the couch. So it's like, well, I started calling for him like you would when you can't find someone. And then eventually,
Yes.
I did find him and he had passed. He was in the hallway. Um, and so that just
Oh
started,
my goodness. I'm
yeah,
so sorry.
Yeah, it was a very, just the thing that you think's never going to happen to you. I mean, really, you just don't imagine. And so
Mhm.
I don't know. I just, did all the things, calling 911 and, just kind of going into that type of mode. My dad lives about a block and a half from me. I called him. I said, I need you to come over. So anyway, pretty soon all
Mhm.
the people were there. As far as the emergency people, he had been passed for a while, so there was nothing they could do. Um,
Oh my goodness.
so yeah, it was a very,
I'm so
yeah, it
sorry.
was a very shocking situation, and just everything about it. What
Mhm.
I find like when things happen, it's like time moves in slow motion, and so then I would like start thinking of things I needed to do, like, oh yeah, he's supposed to be at work tomorrow. I need to call his boss.
Mm.
And that's another thing I don't know that we
Yes.
always think about. Like things can happen at any time, and everyone who passes away, they had something they were going to do tomorrow. They had plans.
Yes.
They had so
Yes.
yeah, I mean, just it was just bizarre how things would come into my mind, and I think, oh, gosh. And so I'm in his phone trying to find his boss's number to call and explain that he wasn't going to be at work. Um, then pretty soon I thought I need to call
Oh my god.
I need to call our son. He lives out of state. I need to call him. So, I called him and several, getting off the phone. And then pretty soon it would pop in my head. I need to call his sister. Fortunately, she offered to call a bunch of other people for me. So that ended that part.
Mhm.
She took care of everything else. And
Mhm.
then just kind of the new reality started after, everybody was finished, all the emergency workers, all the people, they were finished,
Mhm.
left. And I remember my dad asked me if I wanted just to go stay at his house, but I didn't. I was like, no, I'll just stay here. Um, so then,
You wanted to stay home.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want one more thing to be different. And so anyway, and then I realized, like, I went to sleep, and I also realized I'm not going to be at work tomorrow. I need to call in for myself. Um, so, and I'd also,
Oh
yeah,
my
I mean,
goodness.
and so I'd left and I left some things undone, because I assumed I was going to be there. I could just get up early the next morning and take care of things that I'd left out. There
Yes.
was a breakfast and we had all this artwork scattered. And so, and thinking about like all of those things are details that like we think are so important. So I remember I called food service director. I didn't want to tell her what happened, but I just said, hey, I'm really sorry. Things didn't get left the way they were supposed to. I'm not going to be there this morning. And, and so she was always pretty patient. So she's like, oh, it's okay. And I could tell she was not happy, but she also was okay. And then I ended up calling the
Mhm.
superintendent and actually telling him what happened and that I wasn't going to be there. And so was asking how many
Mhm.
days I was going to be gone. I said, well, just today, because tomorrow's the first day of school. And he said, well, you can't be here. And I said, oh, yes, I can and I have to. It's like I was like, this is my 30th year. Like I've never missed the first day of school for 29 years. I'm not starting now.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I missed the day before school started, which is just kind of a work day and stuff. And then, but no, I was there the
Mhm.
first day. And basically, I asked him to go ahead and tell everybody what happened because I didn't want to explain it. And also to let people know that I was going to be
Yes.
there, but I wanted the day to be normal. So please don't ask me anything. Don't ask me questions about it. Don't say
Mhm.
anything.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Fortunate that everybody respected those wishes. Um, and just
Oh,
let the
that's
day.
very nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really was. Just let the day be normal, which I think is something I definitely want to share in this podcast is people, like right when something happens, people want to jump in and they want to do all these things. They want to bring you casseroles. They want to,
Yes.
I mean, and
Correct.
in some situations, that might be exactly what the person needs and wants. Maybe they have a ton of family
Mm-hmm.
coming over. Maybe, there's reasons they do. In my case, I was fortunate to have people that really knew me because I had one of my teachers, everyone who was coming up with the traditional things. Well, let's do this, let's do this. She was cutting them off, going, no, she's a picky eater. She's not going to want food that other people made. She's not going to want to wash her dishes and return them, just all the
Mhm.
things.
Yes.
So, and sometimes maybe I'm odd in that. And that's not what people would want, but I just feel like it's so important when you're helping someone find out what they really want and need. Yeah,
What they really
what
want.
what
Yes.
serves them, what sends love to them.
Mm-hmm.
Not just what you think, or
Yes.
it's not even what you would want. Like I would have to think about, maybe somebody else wants this. It's not what I wanted. And ultimately, nobody can fix the situation.
Yes, and I think it's very important to ask a question, how can I help? Right? And what
Hmm.
can I do? I can do this, this, and this. And if it's important, let me help you. Because sometimes when my son lost his dad, I sent him to school the next day. So he feels normal.
Hmm.
So like his day is normal too while we were arranging funeral and all of the other details. But we had people who offered help and they said, we can do this, this, and this. And we had people who just said, oh, just let us know what you need. And sometimes we're not there to ask them what we need. We'll just do it ourselves pretty much. But there were people who actually, if you're willing to offer your help, just say what you can do for that person so that person can reach out if they need help with what you can offer.
I think that is a really good piece of advice too, because sometimes when you're in the middle of whatever um, tragedy, whatever situation you're in, you don't even know what you need. And so if someone does say, hey, I
Mm-hmm.
can babysit your child, I can bring you meals, whatever they can do. I can run an
Yes.
errand, I can run
Yes.
errands for you. It's like triggering things in your brain that maybe you do need. I guess kind of like going back to
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
sister-in-law saying, can I make these calls for you? Well, yeah. And so to think about everything that
Yes.
needed to be done, receiving those suggestions is a great idea.
So when you start writing your book,
My book didn't, when I was writing, the intention wasn't to create a book. The intention was just, these are feelings I have. These are things that are happening that I want to share. A lot of things,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and share with who, I don't know, because it was more, I don't know, more journaling, more like maybe making a Facebook post about this or that. So I guess at that point I was reaching out to friends I had on Facebook. Just, this is what I'm thinking about today. This is what happened today and how I
mm-hmm,
feel. Um, you know, and kind of even exploring the situation like, wow, you know,
mm-hmm.
I have all these things around my house. Every time I look around, something reminds me of Alan. Something, whether it's I'm drinking from
Yes.
a mug. Oh, one time he gave me this when we were at some place, bought it at a gift shop,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of things like that. And so being in the house sometimes was hard because there's all these reminders all around. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
the random thoughts that would cross my mind, like the next day after he passed, I got up in the morning and I thought I was gonna have to make my own coffee because he always made my coffee for me and it was just there. Well, when I got up, it was all set up. I just had to punch the button and I realized this is the last time this is gonna happen. And
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
and so
Oh.
it's like a little thing, but it was what I thought at that moment. So those were the types of things I was
Mm-hmm.
writing down, um, and sometimes sharing with people, sometimes just writing down. Um, and then the other thing is there were a lot of just new experiences I had experience with butterflies, and knowing to me that they were representing someone that had passed. They had started over 20 years before
Mm-hmm.
that with my mom's passing. And we had a situation where my husband and son and I were out on a picnic. We used to live out country and we had a little trail and picnic table. So we were out there and we had a roll of paper towels to use as napkins. And a butterfly came and just landed on those paper towels and sat there during the picnic. Well,
Oh.
and so my mother like cleaned everything like I don't know what. And so she used paper towels like crazy, cleaning stuff. So here's this butterfly just sitting on this roll of paper towels. And I remember Alan says, watching the butterfly, and he says, you know, that's your mother. And I'm like, what? He's like, you know, that's your mother. He said, what butterfly would land on a roll of paper towels? Why? And so I realized that. And then at different
Yes.
times she would come to me in that form. And so
Mm-hmm.
after Alan passed, there was a specific butterfly that would come and visit. So again,
Oh my goodness.
just knowing that. So I think that's another thing I want to share with people. Look for the signs. They're not necessarily going to be a butterfly for you.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be something that's meaningful to you. Like I have
Mm-hmm.
a friend whose daughter passed, um, and she finds pennies from her. So, you think of the phrase pennies from heaven.
Oh
So
my
she
goodness.
finds pennies places and she
Yeah.
knows it's her Morgan sending those. But the thing of it was, in her story, she used to ask for pennies to leave places so people would think they were having good luck that day. Pennies were meaningful. And so that's why that mattered.
Yes.
In ours, there was the whole the butterfly connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like if someone is going through grief, if you can look for those signs that that person is there with you, they're guiding you. They
Mm-hmm.
still love you, and you have a place
Mm-hmm.
to send your grief. I've read that grief is unexpressed love. Um, so you have a place to share that.
So basically, your book was the first 18 months after your husband passed away. So you were just writing down your feelings and what you noticed, your new experience, your feelings, what you noticed, something different. And that ended up being your book later on, right? And that's what led you to help people with grief
Yeah.
and led you to yoga, meditation, and inner word
Mhm.
discovery.
Yeah, as far as helping people with grief, it's more through the book and sharing those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, yoga and self-discovery, those things are tools for anybody to explore
Mm-hmm.
anything really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yoga
Yes.
encourages us to be present, to be mindful, to be in the space. And then you get curious. And so when you have, say, you're in yoga in a class and you have a feeling emerge in the body or you feel that energy moving in the body, um, it encourages you to be with it. And I think with all of our feelings, and I hesitate to use the word positive or
Mm-hmm.
negative, but I think we think of feelings that way
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. But regardless of the type, letting it move through you and actually experiencing it in the moment. Um,
Yes.
that and yoga gives you that gift. Yoga gives you the gift, the more you explore it, to realize, well, what is, rather than fighting with it, rather than is this way, I wish it was that
Mm-hmm.
way. It's being in the moment and saying, this is
Mm-hmm.
what is, this is how it feels. And this is also knowing
Mm-hmm.
that everything changes, everything is continually moving and changing. So
Yes.
just because you're in a spot in one moment doesn't mean you're going to be there forever, because nothing is forever.
Correct.
So, and that's actually I guess the big theme of the book. The name of it is Riding the Waves, Navigating
Mm-hmm.
Life in the Wake of Loss. And the idea is you
Mm,
can't
I love it.
fight the waves. You, you can't,
Yes.
if you were in the ocean, and I'm not like a surfer that really knows this, although there is an interesting ocean story in the book, my lack of swimming skills. But anyway, but I survived, so that's the important thing. Uh, but you're with the waves. You're moving with them. You can't fight against them because they're too big. And emotions are like that too. If you fight against your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
eventually they can destroy you. But not in the same way as a wave drowning
Yes.
you. It can feel that way sometimes when emotions are intense, that literally like you feel like you're drowning. But they do destroy you in ways. I mean, with stress and with your health and that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So little by little, they can, if you can't learn to be with them rather than be against them.
What it feels like sometimes we have to surrender and just let the emotions be. But what we were taught probably as kids, like you cannot be angry, you cannot show your emotions, right? You have to look always happy. But at the same time, if I'm suppressing my, as we said, we don't want to say negative emotions, but those types of emotions, we're suppressing our positive emotions as well. So and you said they may end up that what can cause our stress later on. So learning to live through any type of emotions and let them be is one of the things that we um, can learn to do that will help us to process life. And as you said, do not fight the waves, just because sometimes you just have to swim right with the wave, and
Right.
then this is the way to survive.
Exactly. I mean, it's too powerful, and you just have to move with what is. And again, that's just such a beautiful
Yeah.
gift of yoga, is taking that time to be with yourself and to accept your feelings. But yeah, I think it does stem from childhood. I
Hmm.
mean, all the times you're sad about something or you're upset about something, and what do adults say a lot of the time? Stop crying. You know, they don't
So
exactly. They like, stop it. Instead helping you, allowing you to process that emotion. So over time, we learn to suppress
yes.
we learn to suppress things. And like you said, even the happy emotions, because as adults, I mean, think about a little kid. If they're really happy, they're like laughing and jumping up and down and
N-
dancing around. We don't do that as adults.
yes.
If we have a happy feeling,
we're,
we typically
we're adults.
exactly. We typically keep that much more contained. A kid would be jumping up and down. This is the best day of my life. And yeah. And and I'm thinking about this now. I think that's a lot of what attracted me to teaching kindergarten. I mean, the kids were so fun. And we were always,
yes, they
they're
are.
so fun. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, there's no way. I can't, I would never be able to manage them. It's like, no, they're so fun.
I c-
They're
uh, that's
joyful.
me.
Yeah. We're like, oh, no, no, no. Give me kids that are closer to adulthood. But yeah, no, it's like, no, they're so joyful. They're so fun. I read some statistic, and I don't know if this is accurate
Hmm.
or not, that 6-year-olds laugh like 600 times a day. Final point I want to make is, later on, as time passes, it seems like the people who want to help drop off. Um,
Correct.
and a lot of times people are afraid to bring up the person that has passed. They're afraid they'll make you sad or that type
Hmm.
of thing. And I think it's important to keep that person's memory alive. Talk about the person, talk about the fun
Yes.
things you remember that maybe you've done, or that funny thing that they've said, or a touching thing that they've said. Um, I know Alan used to always say, dreams are what makes life tolerable. Um, And that was
Oh.
a quote from the movie Rudy. And, that was just something that I think about too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have grown into being more of a dreamer, more of, oh, I've got this idea. Let me focus on it and manifest it more so than I was more of a realist before.
Mm-hmm.
And more like, well, this couldn't really happen. But, as I've gone through life, things that maybe at one point in my life I'd say, oh, this couldn't really happen, they have happened. And
Yes.
so I think it's just important, keep that person's memory alive.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the stories about them. And I don't think that the person, or no, I'm going to rephrase that. I know that the person that's grieving appreciates that because they still love the person. That person's still a
Yes.
part of their life. And knowing that other people remember them makes them feel good.
Yes.
And if you don't know what to say, you can just be there. That's
Yeah,
okay
just be
too.
there. Yes.
If somebody needs to cry, let them cry. You don't have to comfort them or stop them from crying.
Or
Let
just
it
say
let
something
it
as, oh,
happen. Yeah.
they in better place. Just let those feelings to be, and yeah, just be there for them.
Yeah, just be
Yeah.
there for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree that we have to keep that person in person life, because what I do, I share a lot of stories about my son's dad. So like I was telling him
Mhm.
story when we did this and when we did that and what he said and how we moved, for example. So I keep sharing stories about him. But what I notice also that we talk about him in present tense, not in past tense. So
Oh, yes.
yeah, it's so, and I think it's been working great for him as well, so he doesn't feel I think more isolated from him, but he knows he's there. He's like, yeah, he's here, I know. And he does talk about him in present tense too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
just knowing that the people we love that are no longer here in the physical sense, they are still
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
You just have to be open to the communication and to the feelings and just
Yes.
the knowing, trusting yourself that when you feel something that it is
Yeah,
real.
it is. And it is
So,
okay to feel it, and it is okay to feel different feelings, as we discussed, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm. What advice would you give to someone who is going through grief right now?
Wow. One thing is feel what you feel. Notice what you notice and feel what you feel.
Mhm.
And it's all valid. It's all good. Just feel it. And know that things change. You won't always be in the same place that you're feeling right now.
Mhm.
I mean, you, grief doesn't go away. People who say time heals all things, that's just, in my view, that's not true. The grief goes with you. You grow with it. Um,
Mhm.
so just know that you're not always going to be feeling the way you're feeling now. Things will change. Things will be different. Um, but that grief, as unexpressed love, is part of you. It is part of you. It's part of your story. Um, maybe
Mhm.
almost like a scar. It does not heal completely, but that's okay, and you'll be
That's
okay.
okay.
It's okay. Yeah, and later, if someone's further into the journey, something I would tell them is it's okay to be happy. There were times
Mhm.
that I would be happy about something and I feel guilty for feeling happy because I'm supposed to be upset. And instead of, just be like, well, this is how I feel. You can think about that your loved one would want you to be happy again if that's a way that helps you process it. But then also realizing that you can have more than one emotion at the same time. You don't have
Correct.
to,
Yes.
yeah. And so there's no reason to feel guilt about any emotion that you have. It just
Mhm.
is. So I think
Yeah.
that's another thing I would tell someone is like, when that time comes and you're really happy about something, and then sometimes that pang of guilt will hit, then it's like, no, it's all good. I can be happy and I can be sad. They can coexist.
Yes, yes. All those feelings can exist within us. We just have to let them be present.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Letting them be present, giving them space to move because they are designed to move. So they need their space to move
Yes.
and travel through. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's very beautiful. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Thank you for I think encouraging people who are going through grief that it will change and allowing people to face the emotions, sadness and happiness. It's all within us instead of suppressing those emotions, and find a community that can support you, that you can talk to about your feelings. And I think our listeners can contact you and look at your book, because those were probably the best thoughts that you had during your first 18 months after your husband passed away. So thank you very much for your beautiful story. And I wish you the best of luck. and
Well, the listeners too.
and listeners too. Yes,
Yes.
we
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for
and
having me.
Sure. And you can find more information and connect with Adi by following the links below this episode. And remember, no matter how tough things get, you are not alone.